Biden Force One, new presidential plane. Air Force One is about to be upgraded. The new presidential plane is currently being upgraded and is set to be delivered to Andrews Air Force Base in the next few years. The new Air Force One will be replacing the old aging models first used by former US President George H.W. Bush in the 90s. Although it has been tagged Biden Force One as its moniker, President Joe Biden was not the president who commissioned the project. That honour goes to the former and the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. But despite his cost-cutting efforts, the new plane will cost American taxpayers in excess of $5.3 billion. In today's video, we'll take a look at the new presidential plane, the history behind it, and what we should expect to see when the plane is unveiled in 2024. Here is what we know so far about the new jet. The plane will cost $5.3 billion and will be funded by the federal government and the Air Force. The price includes the price of the jet itself, which will cost around $800 million for a new model, but we hear that the jet will not be purchased new. More on that later. As for the interior completion and modification work, as well as a new hangar for it at the Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, this will cost a further $4.4 billion. Former President Trump tried to bring down the cost to $3.9 billion, but many upgrades and modification plans were set aside. So for now, we can't say for sure if the new jet will indeed cost $5.3 billion or more. On their part, Boeing is keeping the final cost a guarded secret. By contrast, the old Air Force One that will be replaced with the new one was completed under former President George H.W. Bush's administration, and it only cost about $660 million, about 1/5 of the cost of the new model. The manufacturer Boeing will not be building the jet from scratch. Rather, the plane will be purchased second-hand from the now-defunct Russian airline Transaero. 2 jets built by Boeing were meant for Transaero, but the airline went into bankruptcy. To save cost, Boeing sold the jets to the government, as at the time when the deal was being negotiated, they cost $390 million and were kept in California. After the deal was confirmed, they were flown to Texas, to the Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. The replacement program first started under former President Barack Obama, but President Trump had the most to say in the process when he assumed office. Trump had initially complained about the high cost of the program. In fact, he did so several times on social media and national television. In a 2016 tweet, he said, "Boeing is building a brand new 747 Air Force One for future presidents, but costs are out of control. More than $4 billion. Cancel order." At the time, CEO of Boeing, Dennis Muhlenberg, had a meeting with the new president-elect at his Mar-a-Lago Palm Beach estate to discuss potential alternatives in order to lower the cost of the program. 4 options were put forward. One of the alternatives, which was eventually accepted by Mr. Trump, was to purchase 2 new 747-8i jets, configure one of them to presidential standards, and configure the second one to just VIP standards. Another option was to buy just one 747-8i jet while maintaining one of the existing 747 jets. Air Force One has always been the most recognisable jet in the world, with a stunning white and blue colour, but this new model will have a new paint thanks to former President Trump. In a CBS News interview in 2018, he had said that he would prefer the jet to have a new paint design. The new Air Force One will have red, white and blue. How the new paint will look is still unknown, but while he was president, Mr. Trump kept the new design of the jet at his Oval Office. We don't know for sure if the other VIP jet will have the same old blue and white colours, or if it will be painted with the new colours. More so, President Biden may decide to change the colours. Who knows? The new Air Force One will have a new manual specially designed for Boeing's new VC-25B crafts. The manual is so expensive you wouldn't believe it. It will cost $84 million. The 100,000-page booklet will not be ready, as at the time the jet will be delivered to the Air Force. Analysts predict that the soonest delivery time will be January 2025. The cost of the manual is included in the $5.3 billion cost. Boeing planes are built to last for decades, and the same is the case with the new presidential jet. The current jets used by US presidents will be replaced just over 3 decades after their first flights in 1991. The period for the unveiling of the new jet will be in line with the 3 decades replacement practice. More interestingly, a short while ago, Boeing announced the end date for their half-of-a-century-old 747 program. The last 4 747 planes to be built will be delivered to Atlas Air. It is designed for long-range flights from Washington with a range capacity of 5,900 nautical miles. This is a lesser range than Bombardier and Gulfstream jets. The 5,900 nautical miles is also lesser than what the current Air Force One can cover in a single flight. The current Air Force One runs on VC-25As with the capacity to refuel while in the air. This capacity allows airborne tankers to refuel the jet so that the president can remain in the air for as long as he desires. But sadly, the feature has never been used, except in Hollywood movies. The new Air Force One will not have mid-air refueling capabilities. Perhaps the government considers the feature to be a luxury feature without much of a real value. However, the 5,900 nautical mile range is more than enough for the president to take direct flights to faraway cities like Tel Aviv, Riyadh or New Delhi without stopping to refuel. Boeing's new generation 747-8i jets are more fuel efficient than the Air Force One jets of old. The new craft will save the Air Force roughly $1.9 billion in fuel costs, despite its larger size. The new jet will have the same passenger capacity of 71, but there will be more room for the medical suite, a private room, the president's office, and the communications bay area. There will also be a private bedroom. Much remains unknown about this new craft, as the Air Force and Boeing are not giving much away. But the huge craft will have the kind of impressive equipment that a presidential craft should have. These high-tech features may include a retractable air stair to allow the plane to operate without the need for an external stair, a fuselage to counter electromagnetic pulses, a missile warning system and missile counter-strike measures, a military GPS in the flight management system, improved steep takeoff and landing capabilities, advanced communication facilities, a second auxiliary power unit. Even though he had a greater say in the development of the new Air Force One, President Trump will not likely be the first president to use the jet. On the day of the inauguration of the new administration, he took his final Air Force One flight from Washington, D.C. to his Mar-a-Lago private club. The new jets are scheduled to be commissioned for service in 2024. If President Biden runs again in 2024 and is successful, he will be the first user. If former President Trump runs for a second term and is successful, he may yet set foot in the jet. If both men don't make it in 2024, whoever is president then will be the first user. In continuing with the tradition of providing serving American presidents with first-class aircraft, the new Air Force One will play the same role for the next 30 years to come, starting from 2024. What do you guys think the new Air Force One jet will look like? Or what cool things will it come prepared with? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos posted each week. Thanks for watching.